So Ashley, we had, some amazing times at the Olympics. We had so much
We
fun
did.
covering him. It was a fun time, but not everything was sunshine and rainbows. And there are some things specifically in the Olympic Village that we need to bring to everyone's attention just so that in the future, you know, we are not dealing with these things when it comes to the athletes. They just shouldn't have to be a part of them in the next Olympics or otherwise. We just don't think that this should ever be repeated again. So, specifically, let's talk about a couple of things. One is Adam Peaty said that in the food, there were some worms in the fish. Like they literally found, I know, disgusting, absolutely disgusting.
Well, I am such a stickler. I can't even, you know how like people eat pasta sauce and like if there's a chunk of tomato in it, freaks me out. If I'm drinking a smoothie and I'm expecting it to be like a texture and there's not like a well blended piece of fruit in there and like I'm drinking it and there's like a chunk of banana that comes through the straw or that makes me gag. A worm, I would die. Like
Yeah.
I would die.
Well, and just imagine being at the Olympics after you've trained so hard and you're still training, you're burning all of these calories, you need to refuel and all of this. And then the food that you're eating has a worm in it. Like that is unacceptable.
Mm-mm,
Unacceptable.
mm-mm,
So there was that. There was also a problem with heat. It was so hot
mm-hmm.
that and they didn't have air conditioning. And so there was actually an athlete who was spotted outside
Yes.
sleeping on the
Mm-hmm.
ground because they said that it was better to sleep outside than to sleep inside the Olympic Village. Air conditioning is something that you can secure very easily. Like it shouldn't be something that is even an option when it comes to just the well-being of your athletes in the summer. You know it's the
Not
summertime.
not only that, Alicia, but you should know that in Europe, they don't have central air conditioning. It just doesn't exist. Like you have to remember Europe's a lot older than the US. Their buildings are a lot older. Unless you're in a five-star hotel, which I believe only the basketball team for Team USA stays in. I think, other gymnasts and stuff, I think other teams do have an option like, Team USA gymnastics. I think they choose to stay in the Olympic Village, most of the time. But I know off the top of my head, only our basketball team stay in hotels. So you should already know you're in a country on a continent that does not have central air conditioning. That should have been priority number 1. It's July. Just putting that out there.
Right. And when you have all of this time to plan for this as well, that should be one of the first things that's on your list is making sure that the climate that they're sleeping in is
Mhm.
good, especially when you know it's the Summer Olympics and it's going to be hot no matter
Summer
where you're at.
Olympics.
So come on now.
Yeah.
And then the beds. So we've all heard about the cardboard beds, why they created the beds, and all of that. But they're saying that these cardboard beds that I guess they were creating number one for efficiency, but also they're saying like it's harder for people to have relations on these beds, have sex, whatever you want to call it. And so that's why they did it, which come on now, like there are floors in these rooms. They don't need beds. Like, let's just be clear.
Wait, they don't want the gymnasts having sex? What is this? Sleepaway camp? Are they minors? I'm confused.
Listen, that was part of the reason. I'm telling you, that was
Did
part
they
of the
say
reason why.
why?
I'm not exactly sure why. Emma might be able to chime in on that. However, I do know that that is why the cardboard, one of the reasons why the cardboard, look, Emma doesn't know, but all I know is one of the reasons why the cardboard beds were created was for that reason because it went viral. Everybody was talking about how ridiculous it was and yeah, I know Ashley. That's
I mean,
that
I
same
could
perplex.
understand it if the Olympic Village was consisted of under 18 athletes. You don't want
Yeah.
to promote that, I guess. I would get that. But we're talking about an Olympic Village with like married athletes in their 20s, like they're grown people. Like,
They're grown
okay,
people.
I'm
But
confused. Continue.
regardless of why they, created it,
So do
which
you love my ass? Go ahead.
yeah. But regardless for why they created it, now I'm not gonna be able to focus. Regardless for why they created it, they're so uncomfortable. The
I
beds
would
are so
imagine.
uncomfortable that people are saying that they actually have to like get massages and like to undo kind of like the knots and everything that are
I
happening in
would
their
believe
back
that.
because
Yeah.
the beds are so uncomfortable.
Oh,
And
wow.
that just shouldn't happen either. Like sleep, food, like these are two essential things for athletes. And you're saying that both of them, like sleeping is bad, food is bad, climate is bad. Like it sounds horrible in the Olympic Village. Like it really
Mhm.
does. It does not make any sense. As a matter of fact, um there's theft that has been reported. So on
Oh my
top of
god.
that, people are dealing. Japanese rugby player, um, a Japanese rugby player rather, reported that there was a theft of a wedding ring, a necklace, and cash totaling 3,000 euros. So, and it, basically, what we're saying in this connecting changes everything is that the Olympic Village in this particular Olympics did not foster what was needed for the athletes at all. As a matter of fact, it was the opposite of what they deserved. And we need to change that moving forward. There's no reason why any athlete who is coming to represent their country should have to worry about any of these even basic needs: food, sleep, safety. They shouldn't have to. And so whoever's planning these Olympic villages, let's get it right. Let's get it right because our athletes are worth these basic necessities. They're worth more than that, but in the least, let's just make sure that they're fed right. They have beds that they can sleep in that aren't going to mess them up athletically, and so on and so forth. All of this is just
Yeah, I
unacceptable.
mean, it's honestly insane. You would hope, and I think that U.S. the U.S. committee will do a much better job. I know they brought units to the Olympic Village for their athletes, for our athletes rather, so to prevent, the heat in Paris during the Olympics and things like that. Also, there were a lot of other issues I feel like during the Paris Olympics, not to like come down on Paris and, the Parisians and whatnot, but there were other things that were unsettling to hear about and to read about and to see. I mean, the thing that sticks out in my mind most recently is I don't know if you saw that video of Aisha Curry and Steph's mom and getting into it with the Parisian police, and apparently the baby was hit while it was just Draymond had to step in, and it was just I've just heard a lot of stories about just very um not polite, not welcoming, not safe interactions with the locals and law enforcement. And I don't want to go ahead and make that a general thing because I don't think that all people are the same. And I don't want to go ahead and generalize. But I do think that when you're hosting the Olympics and you're going to be welcoming people from all parts of the world, that you should maybe be better prepared for that in every single way possible and show a little bit more hospitality than maybe you're accustomed to showing. So it was just very unfortunate to not only read about the Olympic Village, but also just read about the treatment of foreigners in Paris, specifically when you talk about Americans and their experience while in Paris. And yeah, I'll just leave it at that. It was just very, very unfortunate to read about that, and kind of in some ways spoiled a little bit of a great situation rather with having the Olympics in Paris. I mean, Serena getting denied from a restaurant, like Serena Williams, sir, like
And then saying, "Well, I didn't know it was her." Well,
Serena
first of
Williams.
all,
Chat,
I,
listen, whatever.
there's no level where any of that makes sense.
You don't know who Serena Williams is? You know how many times she's played in Paris? Like,
Come on, you know
all
who she
right, whatever.
was.